Hello and welcome to the Red Phone Zone. This has been pretty much a deluge of Confessions of a Movie Snob lately. But this one I'm not going to be approaching so much as a confessions, more as a rebuttal. As you know, if you follow our channel at all, Ethan just posted a confessions on the 1989 Spike Lee film Do the Right Thing, and I have some confessions on it, so I'll be back with that right after this. Okay, I'm back. Like I said, yesterday Ethan posted a review of the 1989 Spike Lee film of Do the Right Thing. And he prefaced it by saying that he despises Spike Lee. I'm going to preface this by saying I too despise Spike Lee. I think that he's in terms of a talented filmmaker, he's there, but he seems to be a pretty much one-trick pony. He likes to tell racially charged stories. He has made some good movies. I was a fan of The 25th Hour. I haven't seen that one that Ethan said that was. Didn't particularly like Malcolm X, Jungle Fever, a lot of those movies. But Do the Right Thing is a movie that I have seen. Ethan despised this movie, did not like it, one little bit. I think it is an ugly movie. I think it's a racist movie. I think it's false. I do not think it is a poorly made movie, though. I do think that I don't even know where to go with this. I don't want to go over it in the same amount of detail that Ethan did. He hit the main points. It was a hot day. Excuse me, in the bedside Stewie, the Brooklyn neighborhood, and everything culminates to Mookie doing the right thing. That's where I think that Ethan might have maybe missed out a little bit about what was going on. You have the character of Mookie, played by Spike Lee, and he's presented in such this way, to where, and Spike Lee's even said so, that he wanted to be the person that the typical white person would feel the most comfortable with. He said, out of all the characters in this film, Mookie would be the one that you invite to dinner with the family. And then you have all this other stuff. The idiotic character that Ethan was referring to was Bugging Out, and I believe it was played by Giancarlo Espinosa. I could be entirely wrong. And we had Radio Raheem, played by Bill Money. I could be entirely wrong about that as well. But bear in mind, I haven't seen this movie in a few years. But he was correct in so much as the events of the day led up to them attacking Sal. What happened was Bugging Out was going around trying to get everybody to join his cause of let's boycott Sal's Famous because he doesn't have any black people on his wall of fame, and everybody tells him he's an idiot. The character of Radio Raheem is in the Sal's Famous, Danny Aiello's pizza store, and with his boombox just blasting "Fight the Power," and just top level, and he goes in there and tells him to shut it off because he can't hear, and the fucking punk is just blasted this fucking radio and nobody can hear anything. And then Bugging Out ends up running into Radio Raheem on the street, and he's pissed off at Sal because he made him turn off his radio and he yelled at him. And so Bugging Out gets him on this gets him on in his cause of the boycott. So they go into Bugging Out, and Radio Raheem go into Sal's Famous, and they they start causing a commotion, and you know, bugging out, just act like a fucking idiot and yelling and screaming and just making a total nuisance of himself. And Radio Raheem is, blasting his radio, and everyone is yelling and screaming, and it's pure fucking chaos and all that kind of shit. And then, Ethan's 100% right that he threw the N-word out there and broke his radio, and then everybody, it's like, rah, rah, rah. And then this is where the movie, this is the reason why I decided to do this rebuttal, or at least addition to Ethan's review, because, this is an important part that he just kind of glanced over. The police showed up, and they're trying to drag off bugging out, and they're trying to drag off Raheem, and Raheem is struggling with them, and they end up choking him out, and they wind up killing him. And at that point, everybody in the neighborhood just goes ballistic. They start yelling and screaming at Sal, and Sal's trying to defend himself, but you could tell that he felt awful about what would happen. Or rather what had happened with radio, but at the same time he was defending himself because, he was in there being a nuisance and things like that. And so the charge is pretty much being led by Mookie. He's saying, they killed Radio Raheem, and, they're yelling and screaming, and, there's like a fucking mob mentality going on here. And then Mookie grabs a trash can at this point and then throws it through the window, and they go in and just destroy the fuck out of his restaurant, just absolutely decimates it. And after that, the mob goes over and destroys that, they're on this racial tear, and they move on. They decide that they're going to move on over to the Chinese grocers across the street, and he's out there swinging a broom at him. You get away from my store, get away from my store. It's like, I'm not white, I'm black like you. And, they decide that he's right because, blah, 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 blah. And there's a little scene of what they would like to call a resolution at the end, where Mookie, has the nerve and the audacity to show up at Sal's, burnt to the ground, asking for his fucking paycheck. And he ends up getting it from him, and there's I've been told it's an easy truce, that they come to an understanding. I didn't see it when I, saw the movie, but, I guess maybe people, and it's been a while since I've seen it. I think it's an interesting movie. I like I said, it's racist, it's false, it's, there's just lots of ugliness in it. And I also like to point out that I don't regret watching it. And I also think that there's a Criterion DVD of this, and if you don't know what Criterion is, man, are you in for a treat. Just beautiful transfers, fantastic, special features. They win lots of awards and stuff like that. They typically do films that they consider to be important and culturally significant. And there is a Criterion edition of Do the Right Thing, and I find that disc fascinating because there's lots of interviews and stuff with Spike Lee on there where he's just out on the circuit after the release of the movie, and people are asking him stuff about it. Did Mookie really, do the right thing by throwing the trash can and, inciting the riot? Spike Lee, says that, he thinks he did because of the fact that, took everybody's aggression away from Sal and onto, Sal's property. And, he in typical Spike Lee fashion, he says, and anybody that, thinks that he didn't do the right thing is pretty much saying that the property is worth more than the life of a black man. And I don't know about all that. There's also people asking him about, these young kids walking around with, $100 sneakers on and, with no visible source of income. Obviously there's some kind of drug element going on there. And he says that, he does plan on doing a drug movie. This movie wasn't about drugs, and he thinks it's very typical of the racism in America. They can watch a movie like American Beauty and not ask about the. I don't know if you even used that example, but he said that you never ask about, where the white people get the money from. It's because it's black. And yeah, I mean, that's just total Spike Lee bullshit when it comes down to it. But, it's his and, it's being deemed one of the most culturally significant movies. I don't say skip it. I think it's an interesting watch. I am, offended by it. And if you guys decide that you do want to check it out, you haven't seen it, and I would imagine if you want to see it, you probably have. Absolutely check out the Criterion DVD, because there's just fantastic special features on it. And as far as I'm concerned, Criterion could, get, all the press that they need. But yeah, that has been my rebuttal, or what have you, my confessions of a movie snob on Do the Right Thing.